Indiana woman is pleading for a lighter sentence after her conviction for her role and her part in running into the Capitol on January 6th with the rest of her fellow insurrectionists. And now the reason for her pleas for a lighter sentence have to do with, did you guys know that prisons are overcrowded and they're teeming with COVID? Oh my God, and also she's unvaccinated. So these are reasons that she's going to. Let's look into some of the court proceedings and some things that happened and what her attorney did say about this situation. Let's jump right into it. Her attorney says, simply put, if Ms. Bissey is incarcerated at the DC jail or in the BOP, which has seen 259 inmate deaths and over 43,000 infections from COVID-19, she's extremely likely to suffer severe illness or even death. According to the CDC, if she were to go back get sick with the virus, she may require hospitalization, intensive care, a ventilator to help her breathe, or she may even die. Certainly, Ms. Bissey has not helped her chances of fighting the virus by remaining unvaccinated. But just as certainly, she does not deserve to die for her bad behavior on January 6th. So that's what her attorney started off by saying. He pointed out the lack of vaccination and also, what we do know about the prisons and how they have all these cases. Now, before you wonder whether or not she's just one of these folks who was also chanting and going to school boards and talking about not to get vaccinated and also not to get masked, they did have reasons why she is not vaccinated yet. They continue on. Ms. Bissey maintains that she is unvaccinated because her doctor in Indiana has not advised her to get vaccinated, and she is concerned about what the vaccine may do to her compromised liver. And they go to a link, talk about things that happened there. So I guess it's really up to, again, that's one of the reasons why I think many people need to get vaccinated. There's people who can't. And going off her story, she maybe has a compromised liver. I don't know how much her doctor has said that to her. I don't want to violate her HIPAA rights. So we won't get into all of that. But that is the reason why, at least, she has been vaccinated. Now, one other aspect of it, in case you really are worried about how Ms. Bissey is feeling, she's also getting shunned in her community. More from this. A sentence of probation with community service and restitution is both just and fair, considering the collateral consequences Ms. Bissey has faced because of her participation in January 6th. Since her arrest in February, she has been chastised on the street and her business is shunned. She had to move her salon following the huge losses from a drop in clientele and because the pandemic made rental space unaffordable. Now, one more piece, she even decided to give the court a bit of a character, I guess, documentation. She wrote a handwritten letter saying what it is that she's about, who she really is, and how this just isn't befitting of someone like her who is a grandmother. So here's her handwritten letter. I'll read to you guys from a little bit what it is, because who writes in cursive anymore? I write this letter to you today with sincerest humility and regret. I'm a 53-year-old, soon-to-be grandma for the first time from a small town in southern Indiana. I'm a God-fearing, country-loving, law-abiding, hard-working patriot. A God-fearing, country-loving, law-abiding, hard-working patriot that decided to run up to the Capitol. I have attended several of President Trump's events without incident. On January 6th, I was in DC for the rally. It was my first trip ever to our nation's capital. She went on, but then this is the best part at the end. I'm not and never have been a violent individual, nor have I ever vandalized anything in my entire life. My intention that day was to support, not to cause any kind of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you are up on criminal charges, calling yourself law-abiding, a bit ironic. Well, we're adjudicating that, aren't we? When you break into the Capitol and try to overthrow the US government, not normally what we put under the rubric of law-abiding. But remember, for right-wingers, all the classic things apply, right? One is, no, when I say law-abiding, I mean I'm above the law and you're not. You should go to jail for whatever you're doing if you're a minority, or you're not in my particular community, or you're poor. But me, jail's not for me. I'm law-abiding. Even when I break the law, I'm law-abiding because, hello, I'm white and a right-winger. And I'm from Indiana. I don't get it.
Small town.
Right, small town, God-fearing. You can't go rob a bank and be like, no, it's okay. I'm law-abiding.
But I've never robbed a bank before.
Yeah, but you're robbing me right now. I know, but I'm God-fearing. What does that have to do with you putting a gun to my head and taking all my money? Okay.
She's a grandma, Cenk. Come on.
A grandma.
That's right.
My bad. Of course, grandmas have never broken the law. But now let's talk about the standard that she's trying to apply. First of all, well, I can't go to prison. There's COVID in there. Can everyone use that excuse? Because there is. It's true. There's tons of COVID in the prisons. Over 500,000 cases. So should we let everybody out? My guess is if you asked her, she'd be like, oh, no. Look at them. They're all criminals. They're not from small towns in Indiana. They're not law-abiding like me.
And definitely not patriots.
Yeah. But they, guys, you think like this is a comical excuse. No, they genuinely believe it. And Rayyvana, that's what it is. It's entitlement. It's like big, flashing neon sign, entitlement. I'm allowed to do whatever I want, and I'm allowed to stuff all you guys in jail for smoking pot or whatever other thing we invented to keep you caged up.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, she's so concerned about COVID now, but I promise, and I'm willing to bet everything I own and all $3 in my bank account on that she did not cross her mind during the January 6th insurrection when she was in a sea of unmasked chuds breathing directly into her face that, hey, maybe I could get COVID here. She didn't care then. This is just, all cap now. But this story is a pretty good opportunity to talk about the injustices that the incarcerated population was forced to endure during the pandemic. 400,000 incarcerated individuals in the first 15 months of the pandemic tested positive for COVID. Almost 3,000 of those individuals died, and it wasn't avoidable. The prison systems were informed that they had to put mitigating measures in effect, like social distancing and mask wearing and providing other forms of PPE, and they didn't. They failed, at least to do it in a timely manner. And because of that failure, people contracted COVID. They got long-term side effects of COVID, and some of them died of COVID. But we can look at the numbers and see a massive plummet in the amount of COVID deaths in prisons once they introduce the vaccine. So if she's really worried about this, which she's not, she should just get vaccinated. And maybe she can't. I don't know what her doctor's on, if she's even seen her doctor, but it would go a long way into protecting her once she goes behind bars.
Maybe she was seeing her doctor in between Facebook posts right after January 6th when she left, because the prosecution apparently knew that she was going to come with this capital defense, that she's never done anything in her life and that she's totally remorseful and oh my God, I'm a grandmother and law-abiding and what's the other parts, a patriot and from a small town. Let's go to some of those things that they did point out also in these proceedings. In the federal complaint against Ms. Bissey, a number of Facebook posts are quoted, including a photo captioned "Inside Capitol Building." She was very proud about that. She also wanted, in response to a comment on the same post asking if she went into the building, Ms. Bissey responds, "Yes, ma'am!" exclamation point. Probably in the first group of 100 to 200 people, picking glass out of my purse.
This is comical. I mean, it's like you go back to the bank robber analogy, right? Inside the bank, like with like ski mask on and the gun, right? And then she's like picking the dollar bills that I stole out of my purse. I mean, saying you're among the first 100 or 200 means you were the ones who broke in. You're like the most guilty of all of them.
And glass in your purse. It only broke when it was getting broken into your purse. There's more. After posting that she was in a hallway and not the rotunda or any of the offices, she adds, "Best effing day ever. I'll never forget. We got into the Capitol building. I'll never forget." And lastly, the federal complaint also includes extensive screenshots or further posts and comments that she had, because she was commenting on other people that posted things and maybe tagged her, or then they said, "Oh, was well, you know her first name, was Donna there? And let's jump in." And so she's like, "Oh, sure thing, I was there, girl." So it's just, it's 1 minute you're remorseful and you're like, "Oh man, I can't believe that this happened to me." You guys are doing this, these extra these convictions and these harsher sentences on me. Don't you know I have to get back to my brand new grandchild? Hey, you gotta think of things before you do it. It's the age-old thing that I hear all the time from these folks who are tough on crime. If you can't do the time, do not do the crime. It's just, I remember that from when I was a kid.
Yeah, and how many times have you heard, you can't trust these criminals, the things that they say in court? Well, in this case, it might apply. So Rayyvana made a great point too. When they're doing the riot, and apparently she's at the head of the pack and bragging about it. Remember, they were chanting "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence." At that point, she's getting showered with spittle of all the least vaccinated, most least mask wearing people in the country. And at that point, she ain't worried about her liver at all. Okay, she's like, yes, hang Mike Pence. She's showering, like, right? And then she gets in the court, and all of a sudden, she found her liver. She's like, oh, my liver! Oh man, no, I got the liver issues, man. I can't go in there and get vaccinated, and that's why I can't go to prison. So I don't believe her. I don't believe her at all. And you can't tell me that you're not gonna get vaccinated, and that's why you shouldn't go to prison, because then it might put you in danger. What did you guys think happened in prisons? That's the thing, right? As you were stuffing your fellow Americans into prisons at record rates, millions of people for nonsense crime, so-called crimes like smoking pot. What did you think happened inside prisons? At that point, you relished it, like, oh, well, hey, somebody's gotta get tough on crime. Oh, this prison rape, whatever, deal with it. You shouldn't have done the crime. Now they do a crime, oh, my liver. Oh, I can't go in there. You know how tough it is inside prisons? Well, thank you for noticing, because again, that's another right-wing component. Me. I don't care if it affects you. I kind of like it when it affects you, right? But it affects me? Prisons, what name so? I didn't know anything about this. So it's just absolutely hilarious. Like, it's both hilarious and absurd. Super last thing for me. She's like, it's already hurt my business. I mean, you try to overthrow the US government and it hurts your business. I mean, nobody knew that. Haven't I suffered enough?
It's outrageous. And by the way, at least I heard that they've got extra bootstraps and personal responsibility in prison. Maybe she can pick a little bit of that up if she gets there. By the way, my prediction, she's gonna get let off. I don't know, just because I don't trust that this will go out the right way.
And the reason why you're probably right, Jayar, is because judges empathize with people who look and they think are kind of like them. You get a young person who's poor, they can't empathize with them at all. And they're like, that looks like a criminal. Yeah, you're going away a long time. She wonders, oh golly, gee, my liver from the Sowed, from the small town in Indiana. Judge is like, yeah, I got an aunt just like that. Oh, poor girl, poor lady, let her off. Okay, who's the next black person? You're okay, guilty. And it's not too far off from how our system actually works. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.